Is that good apple trap? Is that good apple bibbles? I haven't had apple in a while. Hi, sweetheart. So we're trying something new with Fizbin again because he's kind of gotten very persistent in the way he chases me around when I was blocking him. So now my new method is that I have some just plain non-fat yogurt, and I've been trying to keep the session short, and basically now every time he comes up to me, rather than trying to block him from me, I immediately just put a metal spoon with some yogurt on it in his face. So because before he was getting really frustrated, he was starting to puff up, you know, he was just getting really irritated by being denied access to come up to me. And so this, I feel like, is stopping him from like approaching me and trying to hurt me, but in a way that's a little more positive. See, he's still puffing up, but the yogurt tends to keep him a little more focused on something other than trying to bite me. But he does make me a little nervous because he will kind of notice that my hand is there, which I don't like. And see, he just pursues me, which I hate. You know, it's like, it just doesn't seem normal for him to be this determined to get at me and bite me when, like, he could go hide somewhere. He could go do literally anything else other than this. And so it's just really frustrating because I just can't be in here because he attacks me and he right now won't be distracted. So I don't know, I feel bad because, here, why don't you have a piece of apple? I can sometimes distract him by giving him like a decent sized piece of food that he feels he needs to run off with and go stash. But since he's not being terribly cooperative, I had some treats up here, but I think since he's not being terribly cooperative at the moment, I'm just going to move out of the cage and let them play without me in here. But who is this? I think this might be Fizbin. It can be so hard to tell. But yeah, I've talked to a vet about neutering him, but they've kind of honestly recommended against it at this point. They've said, well, he's pushing a year old. He's been doing this for long enough now that they think it's more than likely, careful, become a learned behavior. So it's not necessarily like, even if the origin of the behavior is, hey, greedy boy, even if the origin of the behavior is hormonal, that at this point removing the hormonal cause won't necessarily remove the behavior because he's been practicing it long enough that it's a learned behavior. He's learned that biting me and trying to bite me and attacking me is reinforcing to him. So they said, considering the cost, which they said was easily going to be pushing $300 all said and done, because there's $200 for the neuter plus $60 for a wellness check beforehand and another $30 or so for a fecal check before they could even operate. So basically it would be all this money for something that more than likely they think wouldn't really help. So the vet's not really recommending it. I did ask about, I'd read that there are like implants that they can do, which is like a chemical kind of neutering. But my vet had never heard of it. And so, because I thought maybe that would be something a little less expensive, less dangerous, because he wouldn't have to be fully put under. Here, if I close this a little bit, will it help you? He wouldn't have to be fully put under, and so it might bring the cost down You're a fool. And you just fell face first, and I caught it on camera. But since they don't do it, it's kind of a moot point. God, they've made such a mess down here. I put some shredded newspaper in there, and they've just dragged it everywhere. I think this tube is completely full of junk. I need to do another cleaning soon, but I bought a big bale of wood shavings. I'd been talking to a local breeder who recommended this stuff. It's kiln dried pine. It's supposed to be dust free, so it's supposed to be good for them. But I really want to finish my plexiglass tray for the bottom first so that I can actually give them a decent layer. Because right now, they just push half their bedding out, and so it's like I can't keep a decent layer in there. And I had these around the outside, but they just all fell off, so I need to just like take this into a hardware store and get a base, and then get these cut down so that they'll fit on the inside, so that I can just have a nice base for them. But I don't know. I keep thinking about getting two babies, in the hopes that maybe having Cincy and Tribble will getting along better, and supposedly having a larger group helps with their social structure. But I mean, I just feel like since I can barely even get in there to spend time with them, like, yeah, they have free range time and they get to be out here, but they don't really get any socialization time with me because of Fizbin. It's really minimal, the amount of time that I'm comfortable being in there, because he just hounds me as much as he can. Just desperately tries to get to me and hurt me. So I just feel like bringing babies into that wouldn't be very responsible or very good to the babies. Even if he wasn't cruel to them, I wouldn't really be able to spend much time personally with them myself, handling them, getting them comfortable with me, because Fizbin's aggression towards me just doesn't allow that. So unfortunately, I think I'm just going to stick with these two until Fizbin passes away, I guess. Unless I can find someone else to take him, because, I mean, I'm kind of at my wit's end. I don't really know what else to do with him, short of buying, like, bite-proof gloves, which I've thought about. They have, like, the metal chain ones, which it's how I taught him initially to lick my hand, you know, the spoon trick where I put it on the spoon first, so then when he bites the spoon, it doesn't feel good because it's metal, so he stops biting it. And I thought, hey, you know what, maybe if I had metal gloves on and he tried to bite my hand, it wouldn't feel great, and he would stop trying, but those are pretty expensive, so I don't know. For now, we're doing okay, so don't really know what else to say. I guess I'm just kind of bummed by the whole thing, because, you know, I wanted rats for so long, and I was so excited, and I did so much research about they're such great pets, and they're so friendly, and, you know, unfortunately that hasn't been my experience. I've gotten a rat that just can't stand me and wants to hurt me at every opportunity, which is really exhausting and really difficult to deal with, and just really disheartening, you know, because I have tried so hard to give them a good life, and I feel like he's just not having a good one no matter what I do. And the fact that the vet feels like even neutering him at this point won't help him. I don't know. I mean, he seems happy enough with Tribble. Because at first I was thinking his entire quality of life was bad enough that I should consider euthanizing. But he and Tribble don't really fight much anymore. They mostly play fight. There's some squeaking here and there, but they don't draw blood on each other. They're not constantly aggressive with each other. So I think he's okay. It's just me. Like, when I'm not in there, he's fine. But as soon as I step foot in there, he's a puffy little rage hedgehog. So I don't know. I don't really know what else to do, I guess. So I guess for now I'll just stick with the status quo, but I don't know. I'm hoping someday my next pair of rats, I will learn my lesson and I will not try to rescue any rats from people I know, even if they say they're friendly. And instead I will go to a reputable breeder, and then hopefully I'll have some nice friendly rats that I can actually spend time with and play with and teach and train and, you know, do all the things that I imagined doing when I got rats, instead of hiding behind a barrier and trying to devise ways to even interact with my one friendly rat without getting bit. Because, I mean, I'm just not putting myself in the position to get bit. Like, maybe some people can do that, but it really freaking hurts. I've got scars and, you know, it's an infection risk, and I'm just not putting up with it. So I feel bad for Tribble because I've really distanced myself. I limit the amount of time that he can spend with me because I'm just not putting myself in the position to allow Fizbin the opportunity to bite me, really. So it's a bummer, but I'm still gonna try and give him the best life that I can for whatever time they have left, and then hopefully then I can get some actually friendly babies. But sorry if this is a little depressing. Like I said, the yogurt thing kind of works. For now, we'll see if that causes any progress, but as you could see, he was still pretty doggedly pursuing me, still really puffed out, still pretty pissed off. So at this point, I just don't know if there's anything that can be done. It's hard because, you know, I go online and I talk to people and I ask for advice, and pretty much the only advice anyone online has is neuter him. And then I talk to breeders and vets nearby, and they all say that neutering likely won't help him. And that it's more risk than benefit. So it's kind of just like a lose-lose, I guess. Nobody really has a solution that seems like it's going to work. But, oh well. I mean, it's livable. You know, it's like, at the end of the day, we can go on like this and they'll still have a decent life, just not the life I imagined for them. And we'll have to just keep trying.